Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of L2A. This is Falala here, and today we'll be taking a quick look at the Elemental Lord class. Now, as you may have noticed already, we're in the new town of Saint Haven, and it's a lovely town indeed. What are we doing here, you might ask us? Well, there comes a time where I have to do a bit of a pre-introduction or pre-speech before we get into the PvP videos, and the reason for it is because there's so much knowledge, I guess you could say that. There's so much technical information that I wish to share with you guys before we go into the PvP videos. This makes it easier for you to pick up some of the moves, the actions that I do in the PvP videos. Although I will of course highlight some of the more important ones, you will be able to see or hear what I have to say about the class and then view it for yourself later on. So, without further ado, let's get started. The Elemental Lord classes. Yes, the Elemental Lord classes. They are a class with high damage if you're caught. Fairly not so great defense, with the exception when they have Ice Shield or Fire Shield active. The only iframe I know of that they have is the Blink, Power Blink, and I guess the rolling blink, I guess you would call it. It's the one where they blink from the floor. Yeah, and that is pretty much covers the list of iframes that they have. As you can see, Elemental Lord classes are not a class known for iframes. As far as super armor goes, it's more or less the same with iframes. They don't have all that many skills which have that high amount of super armor, with the exception of Firewall, Flame Road, and I guess Shockwave. And of course their ultimates, and they're a class that's based on trying to slow you down, quite literally, with the ice spells, and to freeze you, lock you in place before getting most of their damage done through ice stacking. Okay, so that was the I guess that was some introduction to Elemental Lords. How do you combat Elemental Lords? This I'm pretty sure you guys are more interested in. How do you combat Elemental Lords? Well, to do that, I think first and foremost we have to understand is how Elemental Lords combat playstyle is generally like. I think for those of you who have had a lot of trouble, or for those of you who have fought a lot of Elemental Lords before, you have noticed that it is very common for them to sort of use a few opening skills to attack you with, such as Frostwind, the Blink plus that wave of ice that comes out from their staff. That's Frostwind. There's Flame Spark, also triggered with Blink, and then shooting a sort of small fireball at you, trying to flinch you off your feet. And there's in the case of Alestros, there's Icy Sword EX. These are some of the common attacks that you will see most Elemental Lords do. And then there is some of the more defensive kinds, or passive kinds, where they don't do this right off the bat. No. They wait for you to come near them, and then they start with something like the Ice Stab EX, or Ice Wall, whichever you want to call it. The skill that plucks 2 blocks of ice from the ground. And even even Selena's can do it. So there's that. There's those kind of elite Elemental Lords that generally, what I've said before, they start with opening attacks, and then there's some which do not start immediately with opening attack, but will eventually follow up with one sooner or later. So with that in mind, I'm going to explain something that you may not hear very often about the Elemental Lords combat style, and that they follow a certain, I guess you can call it a certain design, a certain pattern that is quite similar to how Dominoes work. Yes, that's right, Dominoes. Not Domino's Pizza, no. Dominoes, the little black rectangle blocks, the one where you push one over and it knocks everything else in the line. Yeah, if you guys don't know what Dominoes are, it's you can go and try and Google it or ask a friend. And the reason why I say Elemental Lords, the attack combat pattern is similar to Dominoes is that once they knock the first block over, then they have to do a few more things to knock the rest over, and then eventually you find yourself just more or less being caught in their pace. You find yourself falling, or trying to escape the skills, but because of the slow debuff or because of whatever reason, you get catch easily again, and eventually you run out of aerials, and then they freeze you, and then all the huge damage starts coming out. It's a pretty common sight. Sometimes they don't need to use any opening attack. Sometimes it can come into the late. It can try again. It can come late into the game, and they have stuff like Ice Sphere for Elestros. And Ice Sphere is one hell of a fucking dangerous skill, mind you. Like getting caught in that and then eating Chilling Mist right off the bat. Yeah, that's a huge amount of damage, especially now with Chilling Mist EX. For those of you complaining about Spectrum Shower EX, no, you should try this one. I guarantee you, it's to me, in my terms of skill usage and dangerous level, this one's actually much more harder to avoid. This one is well, overall just generally more painful. Okay, so that is that. Am I missing anything to say left? Yes, actually I am. Let's continue from the Dominoes theory. Like the Dominoes theory, once you push one block over, the rest should fall over. And for an Acrobat player, at least there is a way to stop the other blocks from falling over. And there's a few things you have to do to do that. So the first, in essence, is to stop the first block from falling down. And how do you do that, you might ask? Let's give a scenario. You're within his blink distance where he's about to cast Frostwind on you, or Flame Spark. And usually they do. But Frostwind and Flame Spark does not have high super armor in the skill itself. It does not have high super armor break either. That means you can tank it, or better yet, you can even dodge it. As long as you can see it coming, you can do these things. So how do you tank it? Because I'm pretty sure you guys should know that if you can predict something coming, you guys should know how to dodge things by now. I mean, change rampling, tip top boost, whatever you want to dodge it. But tanking it, surprisingly, even though a skill like Kick Shot, which is not that great of a super armor, it actually has enough to tank the whole Chilling Mist, the whole of Flame Spark. And not just Kick Shot. There's also Blooming Kick, your best, probably I think Acros, one of the best super armor skills that's available to Acros. There's also Eagle Dive. Can you just imagine this situation, especially where Windwalkers, where the Eagle Dive EX is much larger AoE. If you can predict his movement coming, then all you need to do is just slam the blade floor in front of you before he actually starts to blink. And if your prediction is correct, then he will blink. And he will blink right into the AoE of your Eagle Dive. It even works for the Tempest side, because generally speaking, try and land Chilling Mist, they have to be pretty close. Usually within Eagle Dive's range, even the non-EX one. So there's that. There's also a what's that called? You can also use Circle Shot to predict the Chilling Mist, the Flame Spark. Again, some of the opening attacks. And once they blink in and you see that wave of ice coming out of their stuff, they get knocked away by Circle Shot. Because this is just some of the ways you can stop the first block in the domino line from falling over. And the best situation I want from that is that, example, if I do use Blooming Kick, once they blink in, I would like if my Blooming Kick could kick them in the face, knocking them down entirely. But if it does not, it's okay. I get slowed slightly, yeah, but I'm not flinching. That's the very key point here. Not being flinch means a whole lot of things. It means that you don't have to use urgency trick or aerial to dodge the next attack. It means you have full control of your character, and that you are still able to, use normal tumble because you didn't use it early on. Let's say, assuming you chose to tank the skill, you would still have your tumble ready to dodge whatever skill that comes next. And speaking of dodging, assuming you are flinched, you then have a choice. You have your urgency trick, which is, you know, should be ready. But I urge you guys to look back at what I've said at the Acrobat's do and don't videos and master when to use your urgency tricks, when to use that area, when to use certain skills. Sometimes it's not, it doesn't have to be necessary for you to go and immediately use the skill right after you've been slowed, right after you've been flinched. You know, if you're stuck in a poison pool, then just, you know, you don't have to exactly move from it. It can even be used to bait your opponent towards it. They see you caught in a poison pool, they think you don't have anything left to escape it, and then they'll just happily walk up and try to hit you with a freezing field or something, and then it's like, surprise, motherfucker, I still have urgency trick. Sorry, mind the language. And yeah, that is about it. I'm gonna try and keep this as short as possible because it's not quite easy to tell you guys everything from a knowledge point of view. At the same time, I need to tell you some knowledge before, you know, the PP videos start coming in, so that when you guys watch, you'll have better understanding of what exactly am I doing that is in a way right against elemental lords. Another thing from the do and don't videos is that I did mention not to panic. That is especially true in this in the case of fighting Alestros and Selenas, both of them elemental lords, and not rushing immediately. Don't. The Chinese would call it chiong. Yeah, but it just means do not, you know, directly go and whack them head on just because they're far away from you. Do not immediately cast bunny shot just because you're immediately in range, kind of thing. There's a lot of ways to fight against ELs, and rushing is probably not the best one. I would prefer playing smart. I would prefer playing much smartly, if that's a word. Smarter, sorry, my brain's not working today. Playing smarter against elemental lords. Alright, so I think I've covered up as much as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will still be doing some small commentary or leaving, like, how to say, you know, those text messages in the videos around. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys will benefit from the video. For those who didn't know, you can shoot 5 arrows into the sorceress class. This applies both to elemental lords and force users when they are stunned, because they fall down a bit slower than the other classes. As you saw right there, I used Kickshot to tank the sea Frostwind and immediately knocked him back down. Over here I made a mistake. I used urgency trick before the shockwave hit me, and yeah, that's why. So as you guys saw, getting caught by an EL just for a few seconds can actually dish out quite a scary amount of damage. Thankfully for me, that was not much. It was nearly about 15 seconds. Sorry, 15k for a few seconds. And more of the story is try your best not to be caught by them, if possible at all. That random Eagle Dive attack right there was actually my fail attempt to show you guys that Eagle Dive can also be used to counter the Blink plus Frostwind or the Blink plus Flame Spark attack. Sadly this time it didn't work out. One more thing I forgot to mention earlier on in the description part of this video was to look out for power blinks and areas. Power blinks especially, since they can be used to aggressively attack you back. You also need to know the areas and power blinks so that you know exactly when is a good time to attack them and when it's not really a good time, more like a time just to waste it out and then just, you know, attack them later or after. This next EL actually is one of the better ELs I have had the pleasure to fight with today, in fact, and you will actually get to see some of the moves that I did not earlier explain, as well as some of the moves that, you know, it's not really seen when I'm fighting the average Joe in the server. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. As you saw, because I was not flinch, I was able to time my tumble perfectly to evade the glacial wave. More often than not, you will actually see the occasional lag. It happens. Just maintain your composure, keep your focus straight, and you should be fine. A very common tactic of Elestras is actually to fire Icy Sword EX right after they use Ice Stab EX. They think it helps them to hide the Icy Sword from being visible in their opponent's eyes, but it's quite easy to notice actually. Something to point out here was that I saved my counter ring shot exactly for the moment when it would be needed the most. If I had used it immediately, then you know I may have been caught by that glacial wave. Something else to note is that some Elestras or sorceress players in general know how to use Hammer Strike against you and at the appropriate timing. So you've seen me use Vortex to counter this, as well as to counter some of their aggressive power blinks. Right after they've been flinched, they try to attack me back, and I use Vortex to stop them from doing it, to catch them back again. And that's me done for this video. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you found it informative. As a bonus, I will upload a different video showing fights with different elemental lords, and I hope you guys will go and watch it. The link will be in the description somewhere. Yeah, let me know what you want to know on the next L2A, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.